This right to self-defense, indeed this obligation to self-defense, belongs to every nation. No country could or should tolerate the slaughter of innocents. We provided Israel advice that only the best of friends can offer on how to minimize civilian deaths while still achieving its objectives of finding and finishing Hamas terrorists and their infrastructure of violence.
Good evening. I'm Valerie Castro in for Gadi Schwartz. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is in Israel for the second time in 3 weeks, where he pushed Israeli leaders to pause fighting to allow more aid into Gaza, telling Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that, quote, it matters how Israel fights this war to defeat Hamas.
A number of legitimate questions were raised in our discussions today, including how to use any period of pause to maximize the flow of humanitarian assistance, how to connect a pause to the release of hostages, how to ensure that Hamas doesn't use these pauses to its own advantage.
But Netanyahu was quick to say there would be no temporary pause or ceasefire without the release of Israeli hostages, which the Pentagon seems to be taking a more active role in. U.S. surveillance drones are now flying over Gaza. Officials say they are being used to help search for hostages. Meanwhile, Israel continues to bomb Gaza while simultaneously pushing forward with its ground assault and claiming to have surrounded Gaza City from just about all directions. Today, Israeli Defense Forces confirmed hitting an ambulance they claim was being used by Hamas and say that a number of Hamas militants were killed in the strike. Palestinian officials have accused Israel of indiscriminately launching an airstrike on ambulances in front of the Al-Shifa hospital. NBC News has not been able to independently confirm either account. Let's bring in NBC's Ellison Barber, who is at the Israel-Gaza border once again. Ellison, it seems like Blinken's calls for a pause were rejected by Israel rather quickly, right?
Yeah. I mean, to say the least, incredibly strongly rejected, I think, is a fair assessment. I mean, look, right after they had that meeting, we heard from Secretary of State Antony Blinken. Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister here, he then went to address Israeli citizens. And in the process of speaking to Israeli citizens, he talked about the meeting that he had with Secretary of State Antony Blinken. And he said, I appreciated his visit, and then immediately went into what Israel is not going to do and what he told Blinken Israel is not going to do. He said that he made it very clear to Secretary of State Antony Blinken that Israel is going to go, in his words, full steam ahead, and that there will be no temporary ceasefire unless all Israeli hostages are released. He also went even further on points of aid and discussions around aid and whether or not fuel could go into Gaza, whether or not funds would be able to go into Gaza Strip at some point, saying they wouldn't support any of that. So, I mean, these two meetings, they seem to really come out on different ends, and the United States is trying to use a little bit of different language by calling it a temporary pause or a temporary humanitarian pause instead of a ceasefire. But it's the same thing, and Israel has consistently said, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has consistently said that is not something they are willing to consider unless every single hostage, 242, are released, and presumably all at once. Valerie?
This explosion near Al-Shifa's entrance today, the hospital, Palestinian Red Crescent also posted on X about an ambulance being hit. Another UN agency is criticizing damage to buildings that were sheltering civilians. How is Israel responding to all of this?
Yeah, so let me kind of walk you through the timeline of what we know, at least at this point, in terms of the strikes on the ambulances. So there were two different strikes on ambulances, but kind of the same convoy of ambulances. So the Palestinian Red Crescent, in about the last 30 minutes or so, released a statement saying that there was a convoy of ambulances, 5 in all, that left Al-Shifa Hospital, headed towards the Rafah border crossing with injured patients who were going to go into Egypt to receive treatment. So they say of those 5 ambulances, 4 are ambulances that are owned and operated by Gaza's Ministry of Health. Given that Gaza's Ministry of Health is in Gaza, Hamas controls all of Gaza. It is a Hamas-run agency. One of those 5 ambulances belonged, it's owned and operated by the Palestinian Red Crescent. So they say after they left the hospital, they were driving down a route, couldn't get down this one road because an explosion had happened there. There was too much debris, so they turned in a different direction. And then an Israeli fighter jet struck the first ambulance in that convoy. Then the rest of the convoy heads back, they say, towards Al-Shifa Hospital. When they're outside of that gate, the entrance area to Al-Shifa Hospital, another strike happens. IDF, Israel's defense forces, they are claiming that they targeted this convoy of ambulances because they had intelligence showing that a Hamas militant or Hamas militants were using it. They say they are going to release evidence later. They said that hours ago. They have yet to release additional information or evidence to support their claims. But they say that a Hamas militant or militants were using the ambulances in some form or fashion, either operating out of them and or using them to carry and transport weapons. And that's why they targeted the convoy. Palestinian Red Crescent, they have said they condemn this strike in the strongest sense, saying that there is no excuse, no reason, no explanation for why they would have targeted these ambulances, that these are medical workers trying to help people. One thing that I think is worth pointing out and noting is that we have a team inside of Gaza, an NBC News team, and they had been at a press conference at that hospital about 30 minutes before the ambulance convoy of 5 ambulances left to head towards the Rafah border crossing. And in that press conference, Gaza's director, Gaza's Ministry of Health, their director, said that they were going on this mission, this transfer of patients down into Egypt, and also laid out the route that these ambulances were planning to take. And then about 30 minutes after that, that's when this first strike happened. Valerie?
We know humanitarian aid has been making its way in. Some 100 trucks went in yesterday, about 47 went in today. We heard Blinken push hard for aid today, including fuel. Has there been any progress there? Can we see or expect fuel to be heading in anytime soon?
No, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. Prime Minister Netanyahu said they do not plan or support sending fuel into Gaza. Israel's position on this has been that Hamas has additional tanks of gas and that they have a lot of fuel that they could provide to hospitals and other civilians in Gaza if they wanted to do so. Hamas has called that a lie before. The United States has supported and echoed some of Israel's claims, but obviously they are very much not an unbiased party in this, right? They are echoing a lot of what Israel is saying here, but they have been adamant because they claim, Israel does, that Hamas has plenty of gas, that they don't think any more gas should go in because they claim that Hamas will steal it. And again, they're claiming that Hamas could send gas to other people, to hospitals, to help in other ways. And they claim that Hamas is choosing not to. But members of Hamas's political bureau and others have publicly called that a lie. Valerie?
Okay. Ellison, Barber, again on the border for us tonight. Thank you. We appreciate your reporting. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah spoke out today for the first time since the war began on October 7th, telling a crowd of supporters that Hezbollah will continue to infiltrate Israel on their northern border.
This concern is that this has the capacity to expand to additional conflict or to a complete war, or that this front will tumble into a wider war. This is a realistic possibility and can maybe happen, and the enemy should make every allowance for this.
He stopped short of calling for an all-out war on their front, but did warn that a regional war with Israel was a strong possibility. NBC News foreign correspondent Matt Bradley is in Beirut with more.
Well, today was the big day for Hezbollah, for Lebanon, for the entire region. Everybody finally got to hear from the head of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. He delivered a speech after staying silent for the last 4 weeks. And what he said, well, it might please a lot of people. It might disappoint a lot of others. Basically, he sounded like he wasn't declaring a full-on war against Israel, which was what a lot of people were expecting. Instead, he opened all of the options, or rather left them open, and said that he could escalate depending on mostly 2 factors. Whether or not Israel launches further, more escalatory attacks into the Gaza Strip, which raises the question, what is he waiting for? Because Israel has been pounding the Gaza Strip for the last several weeks. Or if Lebanon or Hezbollah are attacked directly by foreign powers or by other regional actors. That was a not-so-veiled reference to the United States, which has now parked not 1, but 2 aircraft carrier strike groups just off the coast, waiting, and this is in the words of the United States government and their military, waiting for some sort of internationalization. So essentially, they're waiting to see what Hezbollah does. Now, Hezbollah didn't give an indication. It's unclear exactly what Hassan Nasrallah and his huge army, and it really does bear more resemblance to an army than just a ragtag military group, are going to be doing from here on out. But he did make a couple of things clear, that this was both the same as a lot of the struggles that the Palestinians and the Arabs have been enduring against Israel for the past several generations, but also completely different, that this is a totally different kind of fight and one that is so much more important. He even drew connections and sort of claimed kinship with previous fights of the Palestinians, like back in 1948, the so-called Nakba, or catastrophe, when Israel was founded and kicked out, or many Palestinians fled from what is now the state of Israel. That history is still disputed. So there is a lot to be seen in terms of what goes on from here on out. But one thing he did make clear, that Israel and the United States, he holds them in equal contempt. He sees them as the same enemy, that Israel is little more than a puppet state of the United States. And if he decides to attack Israel, he has no problem fighting the United States and maybe the rest of the Western world as well.
Okay, Matt Bradley, thank you. Today, President Biden called for new gun laws after paying a visit to the families of those killed or injured in last month's mass shooting in Maine that killed 18 people.
This is about common sense, reasonable, and responsible measures to protect our children, our families, our communities.
The October shootings that happened at a bar and bowling alley on the same night were the deadliest in the country so far this year. NBC News' George Solis is in Lewiston with more.
Lewiston very much in mourning today. The president and first lady stopping by Schmenge's Bar and Grill, where that shooter carried out part of this attack there. He laid flowers and a wreath. He also met with first responders and nurses and anyone that was here on the ground helping this community heal through those early hours after it was learned that the shooter was found dead. The president also coming here to the bowling alley where a memorial continues to grow. Here he delivered remarks alongside U.S. Senator Susan Collins, as well as other members of the community, describing the pain felt, the familiarity of doing this over and over again. As the consoler in chief, at one moment he said, "I know because Jill and I have met with them in Buffalo, in Uvalde, Monterey Park, Sandy Hook. I've done anyway, too many to count from places that will never make news all across America." Well, here Lewiston did make news, and many in this community wishing that it hadn't. But so many here are saying they are just consoling themselves with the outpouring of support that the communities have shown them, both here locally and nationally, seeing the messages of Lewiston strong, Lisbon strong, these communities that have been impacted by such tragedy. Earlier today, I spoke with a teenager who was paying her respects outside of this memorial, telling me that her school had only ever talked about shooter drills, active shooter drills. Today, they actually had to practice one in real time, speaking to just the magnitude and the impact this shooting has had here in this community. Here's a little bit more of my conversation with her.
It's been a major shock. We never expected something like this to happen here.
Honestly, all I have to say is I'm sorry. I can't imagine what some members of our community are going through.
Yeah, something else the president said today. Some of us have been there. 18 precious souls stolen, 13 wounded, children, grandchildren, spouses, siblings, parents, and grandparents. He also referenced those that survived the shooting and the scars they will have to live with for the rest of their lives. Many in this community coming together in a massive way. Keep in mind, a lot of these people were not able to grieve properly during those early hours after the shooting as that manhunt ensued. This weekend, some of the first funerals for some of the victims also taking place. This community as resilient as ever as they continue to heal. Back to you.
All right, George Solis, thank you. Don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. After the break, we'll have the latest from Eric Trump's second day in court. And what if we told you that high Ozempic sales could quite possibly be driving down the cost of snacks? We'll have more on that, so stay tuned. Welcome back. Here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. The Supreme Court agreed today to weigh in on a case that asks whether a Trump-era ban on gun bump stocks is lawful. Trump banned them after the Las Vegas mass shooting in 2017. The justices say they will review a Biden administration appeal on a ruling in New Orleans that invalidated the ban. The FBI is investigating whether New York City Mayor Eric Adams' 2021 election campaign received illegal foreign donations from Turkey. This comes after federal agents raided the home of Adams' chief fundraiser yesterday in Brooklyn. Adams responded to the raid saying he has no knowledge of any improper fundraising activity and will work with officials. Speaking of New York, a house explosion near Poughkeepsie left 15 people hurt yesterday, including 2 kids. Some of the victims had to be dug out of the rubble, according to police. They also say a gas leak may have caused the blast. A second woman is suing Aerosmith frontman Steven Tyler, accusing him of sexually assaulting her when she was a teenager in 1975. This comes nearly a year after another woman sued him for sexual assault in Los Angeles, allegations he denied. Tyler has not responded to the new claims. 3 passengers who flew in a diverted Alaska Airlines flight are suing the company after off-duty pilot Joseph Emerson allegedly tried to cut the plane's engine off mid-flight. In the lawsuit, they say they suffered emotional distress after the incident and are asking for more strict pre-flight screenings for pilots. The October jobs report is in, and it's not quite what economists predicted. Job growth slowed in October, with the Labor Department reporting the U.S. added 150,000 jobs last month. Unemployment also ticked up to 3.9%. This is at a slower pace compared to the 297,000 jobs we saw added in September. CNBC's Jeff Cox joins me now. So, Jeff, what are the big takeaways with these numbers? And with inflation still at an all-time high, could the slowdown actually be a good thing?
Well, the market still sure seems to think so. We saw huge gains on Wall Street today. Actually, the best week that we've had all year. So basically, what the market is viewing this as is almost like a Goldilocks report, and this is something that Wall Street's been waiting for. That we want the jobs market to slow down somewhat, but not too much. So it was almost like a bad news is good news sort of scenario, where as long as the bad news isn't that bad that we're heading towards recession. Look. During normal times, 150,000 jobs a month, we would take that anytime. And 3.9% unemployment rate, it actually has gone up 0.5 percentage point this year since the early part of the year. But that's still historically low. So the jobs market's still maybe not looking quite as robust as it has looked in recent months, but still relatively strong. And again, they liked it a lot on Wall Street today.
Okay, and we are now into November. That means the holidays are coming up, which means more consumer spending. What does this all mean for the economy going into the holiday season?
Well, look, most people are still working. The jobs picture is still pretty bright. On the other hand, most of the economists I talk to are expecting a somewhat tepid season this year for holiday shopping. Consumers, have been running up their balances on the credit cards. We've actually have over $1 trillion worth of credit card balances now. We've seen savings depleted somewhat. So we're actually looking for consumers this year to pull it back a little bit. Also, just kind of generally speaking, the fourth quarter economic growth is supposed to be pretty meager. Treasury Department came out earlier this week with an estimate of just 0.7% growth in GDP. So some uncertain signs out there ahead. But for right now, at least as far as the jobs market's looking, looks like if we do see a recession, that's a 2024 story, certainly not a 2023 story.
All right. CNBC's Jeff Cox, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Eric Trump wrapped up his testimony in that civil trial in New York today. Here he is outside of court earlier, calling it a political witch hunt.
They've dragged Don and I and Ivanka into it as collateral damage. They only want our names in this thing because it sensationalizes the case. We've done absolutely nothing wrong. We have a better company than they could have ever imagined.
Eric is the second Trump to take the stand this week. Don Jr. testified earlier in the week, and Donald Trump himself and his daughter Ivanka are up next week. Also today, the judge presiding over the trial expanded a gag order so that both Trump and his attorneys are barred from making public comments about court staff. It came after a Trump attorney clashed with the judge, accusing his clerk of political bias. NBC News Now legal analyst Angela Senadella joins me now. So, Angela, let's go through this now updated gag order. What happened in court?
So one of Trump's lawyers said that the communications between the judge and his clerk created a perception of bias. Now, the judge got angry and issued a brand new written order, this time prohibiting the lawyers from making any comments about the communications between him and his staff. Now, remember, the last gag order was just about disparaging comments about the staff, and now it includes communications. But also, this is relevant when we think about D.C. and what happened there today when the appellate court put a stay on that gag order until they determine the constitutionality of it. So in New York, we have this gag order expanding, and in D.C., we have it paused.
Okay. Don Jr. wrapped up testimony. Eric wrapped up testimony. What stood out to you from what they said in court?
Well, they both had different demeanors, but they essentially said the same thing, which is they blamed the accountants. And this tactic can often work. But the problem is if your signature is on those documents, that's almost a default assumption that you knew what was happening. You then have to try to convince the judge that you just didn't know. We also saw this in the Sam Bankman-Fried trial. It's almost the same thing there. That was criminal. This is civil. But the argument that other people prepared the documents, I just signed them, I just approved them, it frankly doesn't carry that much weight in a courtroom.
So we've heard what they had to say. Next week, the former president himself is expected to testify. Does what his son say in court give you a hint as to what he might be saying next week?
Yes. Well, with Donald Trump, I would say you never really know what he's going to say. And also how ironic that the judge is forcing him on the stand to talk while also putting gag orders on him, saying you cannot talk, but here you must talk. So we expect his argument to be the same. It wasn't me, it was the accountants. But again, that is a difficult argument to make in a court of law like this, especially when it's just in front of a judge. But if he were to go big picture and macro and to say, look, there were no real victims here, and thus I should not have to pay out a lot of damages. These cases are not usually brought with banks as the victims. I think he'd have a much better shot.
All right, we'll see what he says next week. Angela Senadella, thank you for your time again. We appreciate it. Sam Bankman-Fried, once the poster boy for the emerging crypto world, can now spend the rest of his life in prison after a jury found him guilty of all 7 counts in his criminal fraud trial. The jury took just 4 hours to reach their verdict. Bankman-Fried's charges included wire fraud, securities fraud, and money laundering, with prosecutors saying upwards of $10 billion was stolen from FTX customers. The New York District Attorney calling this case one of the biggest financial fraud schemes in U.S. history.
It's a warning, this case, to every single fraudster out there who thinks that they're untouchable or that their crimes are too complex for us to catch. Those folks should think again and cut it out. And if they don't, I promise we'll have enough handcuffs for all of them.
All right, some strong words there. NBC's Jake Ward joins me now. Jake, the Justice Department is really making an example out of SBF. Attorney General Merrick Garland issued a statement after the conviction, echoing the words of the New York District Attorney, saying in part that this case should send a clear message to anyone who tries to hide their crimes behind a shiny new thing they claim no one understands, that they will be caught. Jake, considering everything that's happened over the past year, walk us through again how we got to this point.
Well, this was an incredibly rapid fall for Sam Bankman-Fried, right? It was exactly a year ago yesterday, the day that the verdict was read, that the first report came out from CoinDesk that found this improper relationship between Alameda, his hedge fund, and FTX, his trading platform, and basically showed that he was borrowing money one way or the other. It set off this run on the bank, blew an $8 billion hole in his balance sheet, and the rest, of course, is history. And so I think one of the big lessons of this is just how quickly a prosecution like this can move, especially when this amount of money is at stake. And we saw a combination, Valerie, of old school techniques, really just getting some of the principals to flip, the 4 top lieutenants under him, some of the co-founders, flipping on him, and then also bringing to bear some real technological investigative techniques, showing him after he had tried to shrug and say, I don't recall the metadata inside Excel spreadsheets, saying, oh, yes, you do. You've looked at these. We can see that your computer did so. So a combination of old and new seems to have brought about this more than a century's worth of possible prison time for him.
And the crypto world was once such a promising industry. Everyone was talking about crypto last year. SBF was at the forefront. How does this impact the world of crypto moving forward?
Well, I think it certainly casts a shadow across it, right? I mean, the haphazard regulatory environment in which crypto operates is, I'm sure, going to get tightened up. I think what this case really probably signals to crypto and to anybody across technology right now is that you're not going to be able to say, you know, we're just young kids fooling around and we made some accounting mistakes. That's not going to play, especially when you're playing with billions of dollars of investor money. And it's now no longer the case that this stuff is moving so fast and is so complicated that authorities and regulators can't catch up with them. I think those are the big lessons here. And so, you know, as you heard there, the district attorney saying we've got enough handcuffs for everyone, I think that is sort of the new tenor of law enforcement when it comes to these kinds of high-tech scandals involving these cutting-edge technologies and the cutting-edge companies that they make possible, Valerie.
All right, Jake Ward, we appreciate your reporting on all of this. Thank you so much. Coming up, high Ozempic sales may be driving down food and beverage costs. We'll explain. But first, you got to see this. Two young snow leopards made their debut at the Bronx Zoo, brother and sister. These two fluffy cubs were born this summer at the zoo as part of a global conservation program. In the wild, the snow leopards live high in the mountains of Central Asia in harsh, snowy conditions, sometimes called the ghosts of the mountains. Their fur blends into their habitat, making them almost invisible. Well, at the Bronx Zoo, they can be spotted playing with the 8 other snow leopards in captivity. They're so cute. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Here are some of the stories happening out west that we're following. A California judge finds lawyer John Eastman culpable of allegedly trying to overturn the 2020 election. The preliminary finding by the judge says that Eastman breached professional ethics along with moral and legal violations. This is part of a case being heard by a California state bar court, meaning if convicted, Eastman could be disbarred. Los Angeles police say they are looking for a Lyft driver who allegedly raped a USC student outside her apartment. The university says she was returning to campus late Halloween night when the Lyft driver raped her in the car. Anyone with information about the case is being asked to call the LAPD. Also in L.A., police are searching for a black Lamborghini they say is connected to a shooting at an upscale shopping mall. It happened yesterday afternoon in a parking structure. Police say there was some type of argument or altercation before the suspect shot someone, then sped away in a Lamborghini. No word on the condition of the victim. Police say the investigation is ongoing. And over on the East Coast, Cornell canceled classes today over extraordinary stress after a student was charged earlier this week for making violent anti-Semitic threats. Instead, today served as a community day at the university. NBC's Emily Aketa has the story.
Hey there, well, coast to coast, the tenor on college campuses has grown increasingly tense and volatile, including here at Cornell University, where they canceled classes on Friday following a tumultuous several weeks, including earlier this week after a student's arrest for allegedly making violent anti-Semitic threats.
As the war in the Middle East escalates each day, the conflict thousands of miles away has become a flashpoint on college campuses here in the U.S., prompting outrage and fear from students on both sides of the issue.
Do you feel like campus is more divided than ever?
Absolutely. With reports of discrimination rising, universities are trying to stop the surge. Columbia University announcing a task force on student safety after officials there say trucks have circled the campus, displaying and publicizing the names and photos of Arab, Muslim, and Palestinian students. Malak Abu Hashim, who attends Cornell and has family in Gaza, says she's experienced something similar.
Is there any part of you that's fearful in even sitting down in this interview on camera with me today?
I'm very, very afraid of actually. I've been put on a website, and there's been articles written about me.
Cornell canceled classes today, citing extraordinary stress on campus in recent weeks. A decision announced just days after a junior at the Ivy League school was charged with making violent anti-Semitic threats, including killing Jews on campus. According to a federal complaint, Patrick Dye admitted to posting the threatening messages in an FBI interview after his arrest, but has not yet entered a plea in the case.
We're very strong. We've been through a lot, but that doesn't mean that we're not affected by it.
That sense of unease exacerbated by clashes like this near Tulane University in New Orleans.
An Israeli flag was being burned, and a brave Tulane student attempted to grab the flag before a fight broke out.
College campuses have long long been bastions for open and honest discussion. Tulane President Michael Fitz hopes they'll be able to find a way back to that.
For students, they will remember this, and they will remember what they learned from it and what they learned about their ability to come together as part of it.
And there is a federal agency task force aimed at improving safety on college campuses and preventing physical attacks from happening. We've learned from senior officials that they have been swamped with requests, a signal of the growing tensions on college campuses across the country. Back to you.
Emily Aketa, thanks so much. It may not come as a surprise that the diabetes drug turned weight loss craze Ozempic is seeing a significant surge in sales. The company recorded a 58% jump in sales on an annual basis so far in 2023, but now some fear that it may be impacting food and beverage sales. Our senior consumer investigative correspondent Vicky Nguyen has a closer look.
The diabetes drug Ozempic, often prescribed off-label for weight loss, is back in the headlines. This time for its skyrocketing sales. Its parent company, Danish pharmaceutical giant Novo Nordisk, reporting this week that sales of the drug are up 58% so far this year, raking in a reported $8.4 billion in revenue. The new class of drugs, known as GLP-1s, which includes Ozempic, Wegovy, and Mounjaro, work to suppress appetite, which means users reach for sugary and salty foods less often.
We have some patients who describe just a general decrease in that hunger. Some patients describe a complete absence of appetite.
But according to financial analysts, the soaring popularity of the drugs has some Wall Street investors betting against the future of snacks and beverages that have driven the obesity problem. The S&P Food and Beverage Index reporting a 12% drop over the past 3 months. Although it's hard to prove a direct correlation between the growing popularity of Ozempic and the recent stock fall-off, the effects of the changing eating behaviors could go beyond the snack industry, too. One study done by the Jefferies Financial Group found that if the average airline passenger lost 10 pounds, it could dramatically impact how much fuel planes need to fly, equating to $80 million in savings in annual fuel costs per airline. And what about the potential effect on weight loss surgery? Johnson & Johnson CEO telling NBC News in a statement, "We are seeing some impact in our bariatric business in the short term as patients are reconsidering surgery," but adding that some bariatric surgeons believe going forward, the drugs and surgeries will be used together to help people lose unwanted weight. Jenny Zegler, the director of Mental Food and Drink, thinks concerns over the impact of the drug's popularity are inflated.
I'm not entirely sure that the food and beverage industry is going to be massively affected by this. Many companies have been on the path to creating healthier food and drink for quite a long time.
Adding that getting the drugs is still a challenge.
They're still very expensive. They are not as easily accessible. They're not covered by insurance.
For Melanie Manar, who says she's been on Ozempic for over 2 years, the drugs have been life-changing. But in the end, she says, they're not a miracle.
There's this big misconception that the medication does everything for you. Side effects wear off. Your hunger comes back. Your food choices become much more important.
Vicky Nguyen, NBC News.
Kara, thanks to Vicky for that report. And coming up, the search for a California woman who went missing during a yoga retreat in Guatemala. We'll have more on that after the break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Let's take a quick look around the world. Russian drones struck civilian targets in Ukraine this morning. Ukraine says it was able to shoot down 24 of them, but several others did hit infrastructure targets in Kharkiv, Ukraine's second largest city, destroying homes and businesses. Ukrainian officials say it was the biggest drone attack in weeks. India's capital city of New Delhi was wrapped in a thick blanket of toxic haze today, which shut down schools and cast a literal shadow over the Cricket World Cup hosted by India. Air quality was described as severe in much of New Delhi, which has more than 20 million residents. City officials blame low wind and the burning of crop residue in neighboring farms for the spike in dirty air. The late Matthew Perry is being remembered by fans in China at memorials all across the country. Fans packed Central Park-inspired coffee shops with episodes of Friends playing on a continuous loop. The actor who played Chandler Bing died Saturday in Los Angeles. An investigation into his death is ongoing. And Hong Kong is the first Asian city to host the Gay Games. Despite having no laws against discrimination based on sexual orientation, the Chinese-ruled city does not recognize same-sex marriage. But a number of participants say they hope their participation in the Games can change that. More than 2,300 athletes from 45 countries are expected to compete in this weekend's Games. Tonight, an NBC News exclusive. We're hearing from a top UK official on the country's support for Israel in their war with Hamas. UK Foreign Secretary James Cleverly says they also back President Biden's call for a pause in fighting to get people out and aid in. Take a listen.
We've been calling for these humanitarian pauses, temporary, localised, to facilitate the evacuation of foreign nationals, including British nationals, and to help facilitate the inward movement of humanitarian aid.
This comes as anger is growing among some allies and partners, with others wondering if Israel is following international law. NBC's Keir Simmons has more.
Hey there, yeah, well, we spoke to the British Foreign Secretary in the UK, talking about Britain's support for Israel, unequivocal in that support, though saying that Israel should follow international law. The UK very closely following the US's foreign policy. That is often the case. And also in the case of the question of whether there could be a humanitarian pause. Of course, we heard the president talk about a humanitarian pause, wanting that. And now the British Foreign Secretary telling me that that is what the UK wants. He very specifically, and the White House has been doing this too, talks about it as a temporary, localized humanitarian pause. I think that's to try to use language that doesn't sound like a ceasefire, something that Israel can buy into. Why does the UK and the US want that humanitarian pause? Well, they need it in order to try and get hostages out, they say, it's believed, and at the same time to try and get aid in, because there is a good deal of worry in London and in Washington about making sure that they're seen to be, as well as are doing their best to get help to the innocent civilians in Gaza. Many of the UK and the US's allies and partner countries around the world are worried about it, particularly in the Middle East, countries in the Gulf, countries Arab countries like Jordan, which just in the past 24 hours withdrew its ambassador from Israel. So there is deep tension, deep worries in many governments about what's happening in Israel, in Gaza. And I think the hope is that a humanitarian pause would help to alleviate some of that concern. I will tell you this, just before I close, the British Foreign Secretary was talking at an AI conference, talking about how AI can help to bridge divisions in the world, but also dangerously could increase divisions around the world. Those divisions, those global divisions, the context for this conflict in Israel. And there is now a real push, and that's why the British Foreign Secretary is speaking at this conference. There was a real push to try to address those challenges before it's too late.
All right, Keir Simmons, thank you. And now to the frantic search for a California woman who went missing at a yoga retreat in Guatemala. She has not been seen for 2 weeks, and now Nancy Ing's family is pleading for anyone with information to come forward as the FBI and Guatemalan police search for clues. Nancy's family and a pilot leading the search tell NBC News that not all witnesses have been forthcoming.
Tonight, the desperate search for Nancy Ing, a California woman who vanished from a yoga retreat in Guatemala.
We just really want to find Nancy and bring her home. We want the truth. We want to understand what happened.
The 29-year-old from Monterey Park disappearing near Lake Atitlan, a tourist hotspot popular for retreats and wellness getaways, a place Nancy had visited once before.
She had gone on the same Guatemalan yoga retreat last year as well. same host, mostly the same itinerary as well. But she loved it so much, she wanted to go back again.
Just a few days into this trip on October 19th, her father says he received a strange phone call from the retreat center saying something had happened to Nancy and she was missing. But the details of her disappearance painfully sparse.
We don't really know exactly what happened. The witnesses that were able to see what happened have not been extremely communicative.
The Ing family was unable to provide more details about those potential witnesses or what they may have seen on the advice of their attorney. But they tell us the Guatemalan Navy stopped its search after 72 hours, prompting them to hire a private company to scour the volcanic lake from the air using drones and helicopters. Volunteer divers have been searching the water.
We searched pretty much 90% of Lake Atitlan.
Chris Sharp is leading the operation with his helicopter company, frustrated that no one can pinpoint exactly where or how Nancy vanished.
I can't confirm she ever went in the water. There were witnesses who've now returned to the United States who've not been forthcoming. It could potentially be a murder or a homicide. We don't know.
The U.S. State Department and the FBI both telling NBC News they are in contact with local authorities in Guatemala. The FBI now assisting them with the missing persons investigation. Nancy's sister Nikki recalling the last time the family was together just a few days before she left for her trip. Now just wondering if she'll get to see her again.
It was like a joint birthday celebration, so we had a family dinner. And we didn't know that'd be the last time that we'd see her.
Nancy was due back in the United States on October 22nd. Her family is now raising money through a GoFundMe to help continue to pay for those private search efforts in hopes that she is found and brought home. Before we go, it's time for the future of everything. If you could get your prescription meds dropped off by a drone, would you do it? Well, it could be the reality for some folks in Ohio pretty soon. We'll have more on that after the break. Welcome back. Time for the future of everything. Tonight, we're talking about a new way to receive your prescriptions without having to go anywhere. But first, to the United Kingdom, to that AI summit that we've been covering. The summit ended yesterday with one of the highlights being a sit-down conversation between Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and Elon Musk. Musk had several predictions about AI, including how it may impact the job market in the future.
I think we are seeing the most disruptive force in history here. We have for the first time, we will have for the first time something that is smarter than the smartest human. There will come a point where no job is needed. You can have a job if you want to have a job for sort of personal satisfaction, but the AI will be able to do everything.
Oh, that's scary. And for the gamers out there, Doritos has come up with the world's first noise-canceling technology to combat the sound of snacking, which can be pretty distracting while playing. The software is called Doritos Silent and is available on Windows PCs. Developers analyzed over 5,000 crunch sounds to be able to silence the crunch. Now, from Doritos to drones, it seems like AI is becoming a regular part of our daily lives. It impacts how we work, learn, and even receive essential services. Starting in 2025, the Cleveland Clinic plans to use drones to deliver certain medications directly to patients' front steps. Monica Robbins from our Ohio affiliate gives us a look at the new tech.
It's not a bird, not a plane, it's a drone, and you've likely seen one buzzing overhead. They're used in police work, movies, the news, even deliveries, and soon Cleveland Clinic will use drones to deliver your prescription.
More reliable, more precise delivery service. It is actually more economical as well, and from a sustainability standpoint, it's a much more green delivery to have it go on a drone than to put on a gas-powered vehicle.
The program won't get off the ground until 2025. The clinic will use drone company Zipline, and they'll spend the next year working out details. The main drone is about 6 to 8 feet wide. It'll fly 300 feet up to its destination.
A smaller drone will actually come out of the larger drone, and it will make the delivery. So it's kind of like picnic top precision, so you can tell exactly where you want it to be delivered.
Patients can follow in real time on an app. The drone can only carry about 8 pounds and may carry medical supplies and basic prescriptions, but no narcotics.
The package inside is actually locked inside. It cannot actually be delivered until it reaches its destination. It is also a federal offense to shoot at a drone.
And don't worry, they're ready for Northeast Ohio weather.
They actually test them in North Dakota. They experience a lot of the similar weather that we may hear. So they are resistant to rain, resistant to wind, to snow, all of that.
All right, our thanks to Monica Robbins for that report. And now we take you to Baltimore, a city full of art, culture, and music. The Baltimore Symphony Orchestra is widely known across the globe for its powerful performances, and it recently got a new music director. His name is Jonathan Hayward, and he's making history in more ways than one. NBC News Now anchor Joe Fryer shows us how.
The Baltimore Symphony Orchestra is 107 years old, making music in a city that's more than 60% black. Yet Jonathan Hayward is the orchestra's first black music director.
In one way, I am thrilled, privileged, honored, excited. In another way, it also clarifies that we have work to be done.
He's making history in another way. At age 31, he's the youngest music director at any of America's top-tier orchestras.
The fact that you are so young, what do you hope that does, maybe in an industry where you find a lot of folks who are a lot older than you, both, you know, who are doing what you're doing, but also who are sitting out here in the audience?
Yeah, I mean, I think my whole belief system is that this art form is for everyone. I will always say that coming to one of our concerts, any classical music concert, can be more exciting than a Netflix series, you know? I believe it, you know? The visceral feeling that you get from a sound of an orchestra narrating through music, you know? There's something that you can't get that anywhere else.
What's the key, you think, to reaching that younger audience, to getting them to feel that and to understand that?
Relatability. They have to somehow relate to these musicians, to these artists.
You talk about relatability. You have a nickname, right?
Yes, Converse Conductor.
You see, you're more likely to notice the shoes on Hayward's feet than the baton in his hand. It's a tradition that started a few years ago by accident.
I forgot my shoes, and I have this bad habit of not getting dressed until 5 minutes before going on stage. Really terrible habit. It drives everyone crazy. But of course, then I forgot my shoes, and I only had red Chucks. The next day, I had never gotten so much post about my Converse.
So the Chucks stuck.
It's thinking about how we can break these barriers, and if it means putting on a relatable pair of shoes, why not?
Plus, for you, are they comfier?
Oh, God, so much better.
Hayward got comfy with classical music in the 5th grade when he first picked up the cello, an instrument he picked out of convenience.
It happened to be the day that we picked up our instrument, and I was supposed to pick violin, and all my friends were going to pick violin. And, we got to the end of the day, and we got to the line, and the violin line was out the door, completely out the door, and no one was in the cello line. So I wanted to go home really early because I was done with school, ready to go home, and just decided to pick up a cello instead.
As an adult, Hayward treasures the chance to mentor young musicians through the Baltimore Symphony Youth Orchestra and the Orc Kids program. He recalls a time recently when a young cellist had a big solo.
I looked at him, and he looked at me, and I was, you know, trying to feed him inspiration so he wouldn't get nervous every single night. And at the end of every single night, he would smile. And for me, it's about how I can, in any way, musically inspire the next generation.
In that moment, no words spoken, you're conducting him, but you're also reading how it feels for him. You could tell, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And people picked up on it, you know, no words said, just, you know, this encouragement, and it's beautiful.
When a young musician looks at you and sees a young black conductor, what is the lesson you hope that teaches them? What's the most important thing you want them to know?
Anything is possible. The sky's the limit. I think it's important to feel like there are no boundaries, you know. You can do this. And to be a part of that journey is a big responsibility that I don't take lightly.
The Converse conductor. I love that, don't you? I love the way that he just feels the music. Joe Fryer, thank you so much for that report. That does it for us tonight. I'm Valerie Castro. We'll see you on Monday. But until then, don't forget to change your clocks this weekend. They fall backwards. And good luck to all the marathon runners this weekend here in New York. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.